Welcome to Metals, Money, and Markets, week ending May 12th, 2017. With me, as always, Mickey Fulp, the Mercenary Geologist, and from miningclips.com, I'm Rob Goodman. Well, Mickey, as we dive in here this week, some shaky economic data, spelling some bad news for the retailers. But I think the story that became front and center here about an hour before we started recording was this malware/ransom attack. What do you know so far?
Yeah, I just heard about this in the last couple of hours, mainly concentrated in Europe, a malware attack that affected FedEx and Microsoft and especially UK hospitals. If you run an XP Pro, make sure you're up to date on your internal updates and also your malware.
Well, what happened on the precious metals side this week, Mickey?
Well, despite Trump firing Comey, didn't do anything. The metals actually hit lows this week. Gold's 7-week low, 12.18. Silver at a 5-month low, 16.16. Now, they all rallied a bit today, but gold closed flat at 12.28. Silver at 16.42. Actually gained a bit over the week. Platinum, 9.19, up almost 1%. And palladium fell back a bit at 1.1% loss to 805.
Yeah, copper off a little bit as well.
Yeah, copper was just basically flat over the week. Chinese imports are down. The forward curve is very flat for the next 4 months. So there's not a lot of speculators really interested in long copper at this point. Big news out of copper is KGHM, the Polish mining company, announced their Sierra Gorda expansion in Chile is dead. I want to mention something about the platinum ratios. We track platinum to gold ratio. It remains at historic lows at a plus or minus 0.75. More importantly, I think, is the platinum palladium ratio at 1.14. Goldfields Mining Services came out today and said they expect this ratio to go below 1, which we have only saw really once since 1971, and that was back in 2001 or late 90s, early 2000s when the Russians put an export ban on palladium, and also General Motors tried to control the palladium market. So big news there.
Turning to energy, both oil and uranium finally stopped the bleeding.
Yeah, oil had a very nice recovery over the week, up $5 from its low last week on U.S. inventory drawdowns of about 5 million barrels off the books, and refinery runs increased, which means gasoline stocks are going down. We're looking at refinery runs greater than 1 million barrels per day, year over year. That's significant. Also came out this week, U.S. shale average costs $20 a barrel. So look at $50 oil. That's a pretty healthy netback. Meanwhile, uranium gained 13 cents. Of note is it's been range bound from 22.50 to 22.88 for the last month or so, basically flat.
In currencies, dollar finally got back in the win column, but the story has to be the loonie sliding again hard.
Yeah, the dollar was up 0.6%, its first win in 5 weeks. Euro lost a penny concomitantly, and then the loonie went below 73 cents, and it's all about trade. And Canucks, beware, you cannot win a trade war with the United States.
Heading on to the markets here, as mentioned, at or near record highs.
Yeah, down a bit today despite pretty good economic news, but record highs most of the week. Dow closed down 0.5% at 20,897. S&P 500 2391, just off its all-time high. Meanwhile, NASDAQ just off its all-time high. It actually had a pretty good week, closed at 6122 for a gain of 20 points.
And the venture finally back in black, modest gain this week.
Yeah, before we get there, I should probably mention the VIX, and we don't track it, but we watch it. And the VIX went below 10 a couple of days this week. It's in the low 10s right now. And, these are 10, 12-year lows for the VIX. Meanwhile, flipping back to the venture exchange, closed up 1.5% over the week at 794, but it hit a year-to-date low on Tuesday or Wednesday at 774, and it went below its 200-day moving average, which is still below. We're looking at this, and if you look at the seasonality, this may be the sell in May, go away phenomena this week, which is historically, and we've looked at it since the beginning of the Toronto Venture Exchange in 2001. That's a blip on the radar screen, down and then bounces right back up, usually in late May, but everything's kind of forward a couple of weeks this year. So it'd be interesting to see if that was our sell in May, go away.